I'm Elex Michaelson. This week, the issue is President Trump's first 100 days. With us in studio, senior senator from the state of California, Elex Padilla. An issue is exclusive. Then, former Vice President Kamala Harris makes her first major speech in over 100 days. What clues does it give us about her future? Our panel this week, Areva Martin and Jennifer Horn. The issue is starts right now.
Broadcasting across California, you're watching The Issue Is.
And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson, and back with us this week in studio is the senior senator from California, Democrat Elex Padilla. Welcome back to The Issue Is.
Good to be back in person.
Yeah, great to see you here. So this week, it marked 100 days of President Trump. If you had to describe the first 100 days in one word, what would that be?
Oh, my gosh. Dog years. Can we truncate that into one word? Yeah. No, look, in all seriousness, it's been a painful first 100 days. Yeah. A lot of chaos, like nonstop chaos, just announcement after executive order coming out of the White House. You know, the DOGE cuts, the layoffs. It's just wreaking havoc on a lot of the services and programs and federal agencies that American people rely on. Mm-hmm. We've seen higher and higher costs, right? For a president who promised to control inflation and bring down prices on day one, the opposite has happened. Mm-hmm. Every piece of rhetoric, every policy, every tariff war that he instigates is making everything go up. The cost of food, the cost of clothing and electronics. I mean, it's nonstop, and it's families that are paying the price literally.
So that's all the negative. There are some people that see some positives, including on the issue of immigration. That's where he pulls the best of all of the issues. We have seen a 95% decrease in illegal border crossings. Is that a good thing?
That is good. I'm not going to contest that. That is good. And I'll even go one step further. You know, when he was campaigning saying we're going to see the largest deportation in our country's history focused on violent criminals, nobody disagreed with that. But what we're seeing is not that. When you see otherwise innocent men and women, even legal residents here, people who came to the United States by the rules and enjoyed TPS, temporary protected status. Mm-hmm. A lot of people from Venezuela is just one example. And Donald Trump single-handedly removes those TPS protections and says either you self-deport or we're going to deport you. That is not the way to approach it. When United States citizen children are being deported without due process, that is problematic.
So what do you think due process should look like?
And it's something that we fought hard for the prior 4 years during the Biden administration to add more resources for more immigration judges, more hearing officers, more capacity so that people can have their cases heard and resolved in the matter of weeks and months, not years and years. That's the injustice for everybody here. But again, that's not what Donald Trump is doing. Instead of investing in that capacity to have that day in court, if you will, to make your case, he's not even asking. He's not letting you talk to an attorney. He's just deporting people indiscriminately.
So let's talk about tariffs. So if immigration is the most popular thing that Trump has done, tariffs is the most unpopular thing that Trump has done. So much so that this week there was a vote in the Senate where there were 3 different Republicans that joined with the Democrats to try to stop Trump's emergency proclamation, which has allowed for these tariffs to go up against China. What's happening behind the scenes right now on that front?
Behind closed doors, they know this is problematic. They know this is bad. They know it's raising prices on their constituents just as much as they're raising prices on mine. So I'm still waiting for them to grow the backbone and have the courage to do what's right.
I mean, are they literally saying that to you behind the scenes?
Not every member on every single issue, but yes, it is palpable. Behind closed doors, they know how problematic a lot of the Trump agenda has been, but the political forces being what they are in MAGA world, they're afraid to stand up.
We know California is home to the Port of LA, the Port of Long Beach, which just on their own are responsible for 40% of the imports into this country. We heard from the leadership there saying that in the next week or so, they're going to be down 35% of their supply, which is going to hit people and make things more expensive.
It's going to mean lower stock on the shelves. It's going to mean higher prices for what you do find on the shelves. Over time, it will mean people losing their jobs because there's just less of that activity. And while it may start here on the West Coast ports, California, Oregon, Washington, it's only a matter of time before you see the same dynamics on the East Coast ports or those in the Gulf. You know, we're sounding the alarm right now because there's still time. If either Republicans in Congress or the president could finally admit and do the right thing, we can avoid this economic catastrophe. So the urgency is absolutely there.
You recently visited the fire zone in Pacific Palisades. This week, I spoke with Governor Newsom about that issue, and he actually said what President Trump has done in terms of the fires is something he's happy with. Here's some of what he said.
At the moment, I'm extraordinarily satisfied by that partnership. There's been no politics to date in this space.
First off, do you agree with that? Are you happy with what's happened so far in terms of the Trump administration on this?
Well, I agree. On the fire recovery at the moment, my answer also is yes. I was there just a week ago looking at getting a briefing on the latest when it comes to the cleanup, the debris removal, not just the hazardous material that needed to be addressed. And by all measures, whether it's Army Corps of Engineer work, FEMA work, EPA work, et cetera, they're on time, if not ahead of schedule on some of this work. It's like springtime when trees and flowers begin to bloom again. We saw the first parcel in the Palisades where wood beams were going up as the first home was beginning to rebuild. That is a sign of hope, a sign of life. But we're not out of the woods. We know this is a multi-year process. More aid and funding is going to be required that hasn't been approved by Congress yet. So that's my job, to continue to work on a bipartisan basis to replenish the sources of funding.
Do you feel confident that at the end of the day you will have the bipartisan votes to get California the money that it needs when it comes to the wildfires?
So I do believe we'll have the bipartisan support for the funding, and most importantly, for that funding with no strings attached. This is not a time to play political games or advance unrelated agendas.
Mike Waltz is out as national security advisor. They're moving him over to be UN ambassador. You think that's a good thing?
Well, on the one hand, out as national security, what took so long? You know, this Signal Gate was weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Trump did not act quickly as he should have. But second, to now appoint him to another important position, ambassador to the UN, when he's already demonstrated a lack of judgment necessary to do a serious job, I think that's very, very problematic. Going back to Signal Gate, where's the accountability for Pete Hegseth? He's the one that put classified information and war plans on a commercially available app. His head's got to roll.
So you want him out?
He needs to go.
And in terms of Walz, doesn't sound like you're going to be voting for him for UN ambassador.
So we've already seen the type of judgment he exercises. No.
So that's a no for you. We'll end with something called personal issues, which you've played before.
I got a lot of them.
Yeah, so do I. The therapy bill is high. Okay, so let's. This is your current cultural favorites. We've done this with you in the past, but just to get a sense of what you're doing away from the job in the few minutes that you have.
All right.
So what's the favorite TV show you've watched or binged lately?
TV besides The Issue Is.
Yeah.
I think now that it's baseball season again, catching a Dodger game every chance I get.
Okay, favorite book you've read lately?
The favorite book I've read, you know, there's a new book, I'm blanking on the name of the author, but it's about Richie Valens. So I've seen the movie umpteen times.
Yeah. Last concert you attended?
Last concert I attended, it's been too long.
Too long. Okay. Well, we want to also highlight the fact that we know your real love is baseball. And so let's show everybody this moment from the congressional baseball game last year.
Uh-oh.
He at the plate and a ball hit to left field. It's a base hit.
Look at that guy. So this was you, clearly a star with the bat. I know you're preparing for this game again. Talk to us about Elex Padilla, the baseball player, and what the preparation is like now.
Not a bad debut. 3 for 3 and a walk, couple of RBIs, put us up temporarily in the lead in the second or third inning. So I had a lot more fun in the game for charity than I expected to. So planning to play again this year.
What should we expect from you this year?
Not to hurt myself.
Okay. And just lastly, one of the things we do on our show every week, my mom is so generous in that she bakes cookies for our guests every week. So this is some of the cookies that she makes for all of our guests in this Issue Is box. And after years of getting that, you came with some of the goods yourself.
Absolutely.
This is from
Porto's. We love to bake in the Padilla household. We have my mom's pumpkin bread recipe, which I still owe you.
Okay.
Just been a little busy for baking these days, but we'll be back. And just thank your mom. She's always great for me and the kids.
We went to one of the great bakeries, though, in Porto's, represented as well. All right, you outdid yourself with this. Thanks for coming in, Senator.
Thank you.
Appreciate the perspective. I'm hungry now. We'll be back with Areva Martin and Jennifer Horn. Stay with us. You're watching The Issue Is. That is Kamala Harris with Too Raw, Too Real backstage in San Francisco ahead of her speech to emerge, her first major address of the Trump administration. And that is not something you're going to see Donald Trump doing anytime soon. Very different Americas.
Very cool.
We'll
We'll
talk about that more with our panel. Joining us on the left this week is Areva Martin, is many things. Civil rights attorney, best-selling author, TV host, autism advocate. She hosts The Special Report with Areva Martin, which you can find on her YouTube page. Those are some of the guests she's talked to. Jennifer Horn is a longtime conservative radio host. She is the host of The Morning Answer on AM 870 and AM 590 in Southern California, where you can hear me every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. with her. Jennifer, welcome to The Issue Is for the very first time.
I know. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thanks for inviting me in.
Yeah, and Areva has been with us literally since week.
I'm glad to have you here, Jen.
Good. I got my training wheels
I
with
can
me.
welcome you too.
Literally since week one, and this week is our anniversary. So we've got some video of you from our first show, which was this week, 7 years ago. This week. So that's when The Issue Is first started. So happy anniversary to you, Areva.
Thank you. And it keeps getting better. You've won all kinds of awards, and you've gone statewide, I don't know, nationwide, worldwide. Congratulations.
He's fancy.
Well
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. All right, let's start the conversation by talking about your friend of many, many years, Kamala Harris, who reemerged at Emerge, this big event in San Francisco this week, her first policy address since President Trump took over. And she really went after President Trump pretty hard. Here's some of that.
What we are in fact witnessing is a high-velocity event where a vessel is being used for the swift implementation of an agenda that has been decades in the making.
Sort of talking about this long-term strategy. Interesting what she said, interesting what she didn't say. She didn't talk about California issues really at all, people trying to determine whether she's running for governor or running for president, but the national issues she seemed very passionate about.
Kamala Harris, at the heart of who she is a lawyer, is a former prosecutor. So to see the rule of law being just trampled over by the Trump administration and by the MAGA right is very personal to her.
Mm-hmm. Your takeaway?
Yeah, I thought it was a much darker speech for her. For the first time out, clearly she's looking to be back in the spotlight.
She wants to run for something. That we know.
Right. So is she going to run for governor or is she going to run for president? I think it would be an easier track for her to become California governor with the Democrat machine, but she's going to have to be ready to address the problems that California is facing. They're real. Obviously,
she can't go wrong, governor or president. The governor of California is going to be that key Democratic elected official who's going to take on the Trump administration. So I think a lot of people want to see her do that because they know she would be best at prosecuting the case against Donald Trump. But there are also folks who believe that she only had 107 days in that presidential campaign. She raised, $1.5 billion. She got 74 million votes. She did exceptionally well.
I do agree that 107 days, she was at a deficit already launching her campaign. Totally will give her that. But I think she's part of the problem. She was part of the administration. She owns a lot of the things that people didn't like about the Biden administration. And I'd also say she's going to have to explain, well, she was part of the cover-up of Biden's mental state. She was right there with him. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people lost trust.
And there's going to be a lot more about that in the coming weeks as new books come out on that very topic.
Well, no doubt anyone running for president on the Democratic ticket in 2028 is going to have, I think, a competitive advantage, the likes of which we have not seen, because the first 100 days of this Trump administration has been a complete disaster. Every day, there are groups and groups of voters who voted for Trump, who have voters' remorse, who thought this presidency was going to be focused on lowering prices, making everyday life for middle-class Americans better. But yet people go to the grocery stores, they go to furniture stores, they go to buy a bed. Wherever they go, they see higher prices. And you don't see a president focused on lowering prices. You see a president focused on retribution and revenge, going after Harvard University, going after universities, going after government workers. So I think Democrats have a tremendous amount to work with, and the table's being set by Donald Trump.
Would you call it a disaster?
I would, with all due respect, I would call it an amazing success, actually.
Yeah.
These first 100 days of Trump, I think, are exactly what he promised his supporters. It's exactly what we were hoping to see. I mean, look at what we've already gotten. We've gotten $5 trillion investment into the country. We've gotten the promise of 440,000 jobs that are coming back into the country. The border is secure for the first time in 4 years, and he did that in about 3 seconds. You've got 26 hostages that have been sent home. You have a real transparency and common sense nature that's back. And I think people are actually appreciating that. We actually can see a functional White House, and it may be fast moving and it may be operating at the speed of Trump, which was a lot of people say. Some people say it's chaotic, but I say he's been actually delivering. My call now is for Congress to actually codify some of these policies that he's put into place so that we can actually really start to feel the effects.
I think, Alec, what you just said, Jennifer, is just epitomizes what's happening in this country. You live in one world, I live in a completely different world.
Look, my mom is liberal, so we do these conversations all the time.
I see all of the success you're talking about. I see the trampling of people's rights. I see people being pulled off the street. I see poor students being terrorized. I see people being fired who have been told on Monday that their job performance is outstanding, and on Tuesday being told they're being laid off because of being fired. I see a man in the name of Elon Musk who was given carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to do in the government, and lies about what he has done, and lies from this administration.
Well, clearly there's a lot to talk about here. Up next, we're going to talk about the current governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and what he was up to this week with regards to Elon Musk. Stay with us.
We're Doge, but better.
That's Governor Newsom saying that California's use of artificial intelligence is making government more efficient by helping stop fires faster, simplify your taxes, and ease your commute. He admits Elon Musk's chainsaw-wielding Doge has gotten more attention, though. Are there any lessons to be learned from Elon Musk's theatrics? I mean, in terms of communicating?
The most difficult thing is when you're tearing something down, it's easy to get attention. Easiest thing in the world is tear something down. I can do all that in 10 days. I don't even need 100 days to tear everything down.
But to that question of how do you get along, you and Elon Musk used to get along pretty well back in the day.
Yeah.
How are you getting along now? Have you talked about any of these concepts with him recently?
This is why I need my chainsaw. No, I haven't talked to him lately. Unsurprising, but a lot of folks that knew him for decades haven't talked to him lately. I've talked to a lot of those folks.
Back with our panel right now, Areva Martin and Jennifer Horn. Jennifer, your thoughts on the Governor Newsom, Elon Musk complicated relationship and what it means for us
I
here
love
in California.
frenemies. You know, frenemies are always fun to watch, but I don't know. I have to tell you, as a Californian, knowing that Gavin Newsom is running for president, every once in a while we start to get lucky because he has to do something kind of sane since he wants to present himself as a moderate. And so, look, I'm not upset with the governor coming out and saying he wants to use AI to fix things. My question is, why didn't you do it 5 years ago?
Well, he says that he did. He says that the Office of Digital Innovation started in 2019.
Have we seen the results, though? I mean, think about it. Under Gavin Newsom, he's got 20% more bureaucrats in California. He's got 41% higher government salaries in California. He's got an insolvent Medicaid system because he's overpromised to illegal immigrants in the state. He's got $30 billion in waste and fraud and unemployment. So if he was really serious about Doge, and if he was really serious about making those cuts, we wouldn't be sinking and losing money in this homeless industrial complex. We wouldn't be seeing all of these fraudulent things, and maybe we'd actually have a balanced budget.
My biggest issue with Newsom is to be in elected office, you got to have a base. And I'm puzzled by who is his base. In this effort to move to the right, to move to the center, who is going to be there to say Gavin Newsom is my guy, is my candidate. And that's what has Democrats so perplexed by so many of the things that he's done, the interviews that he's done with those far-right, podcasters, and the way that he's trying to cast himself now as this centrist, I don't know if centrist or very moderate Democrat. It creates a problem for you because we don't know who he is. We don't know which Gavin Newsom is going to show up on which day. And that could be a real problem when you're trying to run for any elected office.
Let's end with something that I think can bring us together, which is Areva's great work for the Special Needs Network. You're wearing pink today.
I am.
As a way to promote a big special upcoming event. Put some info on the screen right now. On May 18th, a Pink Pump Affair is happening at the Beverly Hilton. How can people get involved in this?
This is an event, a fundraiser where we raise money for a free summer camp that we offer every year for kids on the spectrum as well as their typical peers. And this year we're also raising money for fire victims. So they can go to the SNN website, snnla.org, learn more about the organization and learn how they can also find some very cute pink outfit and be in the audience as we honor 4 amazing women who are doing great work in our community and also raise money for kids on the spectrum as well as, again, those fire victims who've suffered so much. I'd love for Jennifer and Elec, both of you, to be my special guest.
I would love to come. And I love pink, by the way. I have tons of it.
Lipstick on. You look like you look great in pink. We have a great time. We celebrate amazing champions in our community, and we raise money for kids. So something we can all agree on.
I love that. We end on something that brings us all together. Jennifer, great job on week 1 here.
Thank you.
Nice
Happy
to have you
anniversary.
aboard. And OG, thank you. Congrats on the big event.
Congratulations to you again.
Yes.
We'll wrap things up with a preview of a big exclusive interview next week. Stay with us. A reminder, you can listen to extended versions of our interviews every week in podcast form. Just search for The Issue Is wherever you stream. This week, there's lots of extended versions, including twice as much content as you saw on TV. You can also go to youtube.com/Elex Michaelson to watch the extended versions. Next week, a Big Issue Is exclusive. Perhaps the most famous and influential person in the world of finance in the whole country, doing his first TV interview in California in years. Jamie Dimon for the half hour next week on The Issue Is. Thanks so much for watching this week. And we end with a shout out. Happy first birthday to my nephew, Gabriel. Thanks for watching. See you next week.